Howdy. This is Gray Pilgrim. Well, I've actually done a video on this gun before, but, hold on a second here. There. I'll repeat myself at the, let me see here. I'm gonna move this up a little bit. That looks about right. I'm no videographer. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Anyway, long family tale. When my dad was younger, he inherited a gun from his dad, and I inherited it from him. And this is basically my granddad inherited it from his dad because he was the youngest son, but he was still in town with a great-granddad when he passed. And he got the gun. Well, this gun happened to be, let me tell the tale. My great-grandfather had been a lead miner in Missouri, and he was knocking about in Missouri looking for something a little better to make money at than going down in the dirt and getting dangerous of the mines, you know. So he's knocking about Kansas City, and he just got paid, and he's got some money in his pocket, and he walked into a hardware store there, and he thought, let me take a look at that gun over there. And he took a look at it, and he liked the look of it, and he bought it. And if you look down here, there's two guns. This is great-granddad's. It is a Colt, New Army and Navy, in 41 long Colt. This is the 1892 model, and it's the serial number is in the 10,000-ish range, and I'll get to this one in a minute. It is a double action Colt pistol, like I said, in 41 long Colt. 41 long Colt was a heeled bullet. It's the last modern heeled bullet really made. The only other one made today is the 22. But back in the day, a lot of heeled bullets were made. The definition of a heeled bullet is one in which the bullet itself is the same diameter as the case it fits into. So the bottom of the bullet is rebaited slightly so that it will fit inside the case. It's a weird bullet. Well, this was supposed to be a 41 long Colt was obsoleted in 1939, and they stopped making it. Except in the 1950s, with the rise of the cowboy action TV shows, you know, the Rifleman, the Virginian, the Big Valley, all of those from the 50s to the 60s, a lot of the old guns, see, Colt had stopped making the single action army. So they figured, well, this one was still available, not being made, but it was available. So Winchester Western thought, hey, you know, we'll make a run of the 41 long Colt and we'll make a lot of money. So they ran up a whole bunch of them, and they didn't sell. And they sat in the warehouse like forever. So 30 years later, I bought one box. One box. I should have bought more of it. If you can find it today, it's outrageously expensive. Now, the reason I'm doing another video on this is some bright sparks on my video on this thing decided to, well, they went internet fact checker on me and said, hey, it's got to be a clone or a fake. And I said, no, I know it's real because I got a factory letter on it. That's the factory letter. And that's on this serial number. Serial number's right here. And it's on this particular one. And this was issued in July of 1989 by the Colt, it was called Office of the Historian Colt Firearms Museum. I don't have no glasses on. Colt Treasures Division. It was called Colt Treasures Division. It's now called Colt Archives of the, I said coltarchives.com or something. I'm going to include in the description a link to a web page where you can actually look up your Colt if you have an antique and you'd like to know when it was made. Well, some years later, well, before I get to that, the history on this particular one, according to this letter, was it was sold to a company called Hartley and Graham. Well, Hartley and Graham was a main distributor, sort of like Francis Bannerman was later, of guns. Well, first of all, guns of the Civil War, and later on guns. He picked Hartley and Graham picked up. They sold a lot to the Army during the Civil War, and then they bought them back surplus, and then sold them on to the French, the Spanish, the Polish. Anybody who needed a gun, they went to Hartley and Graham and bought one. But I looked them up, and I found this on the internet. That's a picture of their actual, I don't know what you call it, their catalog. Schuyler or something, he was an early partner, but he died in 1880 something, and this was sold in 1892. So this was one of 5 that came from, in this batch, from Hartley, and was sold to Hartley and Graham. Well, Hartley and Graham would sell to anybody who wanted it, and a hardware store in Kansas City said, "Hey, we want some." So they shipped them off to Kansas City, which was where my granddad bought it. For more information on Hartley and Graham, if you go to the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming, their website has this information. There's a slew of information about Hartley and Graham in here. So, that's available if you're interested. Anyway, my grandfather, like I said, he was a lead miner in Missouri. When he went up to Cincinnati, Ohio, I think he was looking for work up there too. And while he was there, he had some kind of an ailment and stopped by a doctor. And by the way, he bought this in 1894. He was a much older man. And I'll show you something about that in a second. He went to a doc for whatever the ailment was. And while there, the doc's teenage daughter saw him, and he saw her, and it was love at first sight, and they got together. And well, when the ailment was solved, the doc got his pay, but he also lost a daughter because she eloped with him, and they hightailed it down to Texas. He got a job with the Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe, and was laying track for him. But he had a good knowledge of carpentry and building, and worked his way up and became a foreman on a bridge crew, making bridges all across Texas, across various creeks and streams. Matter of fact, we had a ranch in Texas, and that ranch, there was a creek that ran through it, and the railroad bridge that ran across it had the plaque on it with his name on it. I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, he bought this, and then one of the things he wanted it for was he bought it to repel boarders. Just a second, I'm going to show you something. Just remembered it, and I thought about it, and I'm looking over here so I can see it. You'll notice that it's nickel plated and it's all tarnished. That's because for many years he wore it in this shoulder rig. And this shoulder rig, by the way, I've heard this particular holster is worth more than the gun. But which I don't understand that, but it seems that there's collectors of holsters that really like these. And this is a late 19th century holster, but it's perfect for this gun. As you can see, my great-granddad carried it on a chest rig for, 20 years or so. And because of the Texas heat, when you're out there sweating on a bridge, sweat sort of tarnishes nickel plate and steel. So it's got patina, right? Well, many years later. By the way, I was going to say, my granddad died in the 1920s. Great-granddad. I'm kind of older. I got a picture here. It's the only known picture of my grandfather. If you're interested, I've got this on an Imagear page posted, so you can actually, if you want it, you go into the description and click the image, and you can blow it up and take a look at it. It's in black and white. But he's holding a baby in a cotton scale, just to show, I'm big, strong man. That baby is my dad. My dad was born in 1923 and died in 2012. So that'll show you how old this is. Well, he was like I said, a bridge foreman and retired from the ATNSF. And he and his brother, his baby brother, who we called Uncle Ben because he lived a little longer. Well, they called Uncle Ben. I never met him, but my dad knew him well. He became an engineer for the ATNSF. He had followed my granddad down to Texas. And when in their later years, they were used to sit on the porch and swap lies on the porch of this house, which, by the way, many years later, I was living in town, and I had a house and a mortgage and all that. And then I inherited this place and thought, I'll move out there. Anyway, that's aside. This house in the picture was a Sears Roebuck house out of the catalog. Well, what's surprising, and I didn't realize it until my dad came over and visited after I bought it, and he was acting real creepy, and I thought, Dad, what's wrong? And he says, this is Aunt Irene's place. Dad lived next door, and he went by his great-granddad's place, his grandfather's place, every day on the way to school. And, when he started school. I know that because he told me he had just come back with a good grade from school and was going to show his granddad it, and that day, Granddad had died. So he was feeling a little miffed. Anyway, some years later, I went to a estate sale, and I bought that. At the time, I thought it was listed in the estate sale brochure as a Colt Thunderer. This is not a Thunderer. This is a new Army and Navy, 1890, also 1892 model. And the way I know that is, like I said, this is a 10,000 and change serial number. This is a 1,000 and change serial number. And if you go out to Colt's site, you can find that serial number. Well, it had been used since the days of the Dragoon, and used various models. But in the new Army and Navy, it was considering how many were made. This was made before this one, and this one is an 1892. It says in the factory letter, it's an 1892. By the way, that's a copy of the factory letter. The original is right here. Anyway, but it says it's an 1892 on this. So this is has a lower serial number than this, and this one is a 9,000 or so below this one's serial number. As you can see, it's blued. It's also in 41 long Colt. So I bought it. I got a really reasonable price on it. It has this grip is kind of funky, but this one is even funkier. You'll notice that the escutcheon in here is a wheat penny, and the grips themselves are carved out of two pieces of leather sandwiched together. Obviously, something happened to the grip, and the fellow came up with this as a Rube Goldberg solution, which works, sort of, kind of. It actually feels very good in the hand, but it's a little wonky. Also, the screw is backwards, but that's because he needed to go into the other side threaded because of the escutcheon here. Wheat penny. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, Colt model of New Army and Navy of 1892. They made them in 1893, 94, I think up to about 1896. And it was discontinued in the 19-teens. But a lot of them were kept in the warehouse because they had more than they could sell. Yeah, I think it was sold in 38 Colt as well as in 41 long Colt. But these are both 41 long Colt, which is kind of a rare cartridge today. I have fired this one exactly once, but I won't do it again because this is a family heirloom. And, that one, not so much, but it's probably somebody's family heirloom, but they didn't care, and it went away at the estate sale. C'est la vie. Well, like I said, this was a repeat on this, but since I have this, I thought I would do it. And also, hey guy, I studied history in college. I know history and I know how to look things up. So no, these are real. Happy trails.